Okay, for the final few minutes before we break for lunch, we'll move away from Devon to the rest of the world. I just clicked on here. When aHUS UK was first formed, back nearly 4 years ago, one of the things we started doing was networking, because we didn't know too much ourselves. And obviously we joined with other kidney organisations like the NKF and regional kidney patients associations. We also found out about the world of genetics and rare diseases, which we knew very little about. And the other way we went was to look for other aHUS groups around the world. And that began quite soon, mainly because these days we have the social media, and we started exchanging stories basically through one of the key websites for the Foundation for Atypical aHUS. And then we started talking to each other, emailing each other, and then we had attended conferences that each country was hosting. And through that, we created an international alliance of aHUS patient organisations. And some of the representatives of these organisations, other countries' organisations, are here today to give you a brief presentation, an introduction of themselves and their organisations and what's happening in their countries. I say brief because this lot can talk for hours about the subject, but I've kept them to 2 or 3 minutes each. But they will be around in the crush hall afterwards to talk to you if you want to ask them more questions. So I'll start the introductions. We should have had somebody from Spain, but I think he said something like mañana or something. But Nacho, I'll introduce him. He's actually Spanish, so he may be able to say something about Spain as well as Germany. Okay.
So, good morning. Thank you very much. Very nice to see many people here. I will talk a little bit the German organization. So far I'm a Spaniard, but I represent the German organization. So in this case, the family is just a mixture of a German lady and a Spaniard. And we founded, let's say, the association last year. So we are now almost something like 50 people, and the objective of the association is, doctors in medicine and patients. And we are trying to, of course, support, just make lobby, to inform the people, the society, and finally to support so much to the new people that they got the diagnosis in the last years. So far in our case, we received this information in 2010, and in that time, maybe there was a little bit information of aHUS. Here is our colleague in the US, but it was not so easy to find something in German. So last week we had this kind of meeting in Germany, and I talked already to some families saying that please be member of the associations, because maybe people that they got this diagnosis in 2014, 2015, they can find a lot of information around the globe, but we don't have to be so egoist and try to support these kind of associations to help other people when they will get the diagnosis. So this is the main objective, and of course to exchange information. In this case, Len is doing a fantastic job, and to exchange information within all the countries. So that's from the German side.
Okay. Next, I'm introducing Kerry, who's probably come the furthest for this conference, that she will let you know.
Hi, my name's Kerry. I'm from Australia, so it took me a good 30 hours to get here. A couple of flight cancellations, but we made it, and it's been really good. So my little boy is 7. His name's Ashley. He has aHUS. He got diagnosed when he was 6 months old, and in Australia there was just nothing. There was no one that you had contact with that had aHUS. So I originally, found other people through the aHUS Foundation in America. So eventually I started my own in Australia, which is why I'm here today. So our organisation in Australia has around 30 odd members, and predominantly last year we were trying to lobby the government to federally fund eculizumab, because until the end of last year we didn't have any funding for eculizumab, so our members didn't have access to the drug. It's still a fight in Australia at the moment. While the government agreed to federally fund people with aHUS newly diagnosed, people can't get access to it for a transplant or unless they're currently flaring. And then also with that, like my son was able to get access to it, but at the end of this year he'll have to come off because he'll be considered to be in remission. So until he then gets sick and flares again, and of course more damage is more done, then he'll be allowed to go back on the drug again. So yeah, that's pretty much the situation in Australia. Thank you.
Next we have Kamal, who's come from India.
Thanks so much, Len. Hi, everybody. I'm really thankful to Len for inviting us to talk about our experience and share some information that we have. So I am Kamal Shah. I'm from India. I was diagnosed with atypical aHUS at the age of 21 in 1997. I was about to fly to the US for my master's in chemical engineering, and I took these vaccinations that are a prerequisite for foreign travel. So I took these vaccinations, and within a day or two, my kidneys was very affected. And then I was diagnosed with atypical aHUS. I underwent a biopsy which confirmed the diagnosis. I underwent a kidney transplant 1.5 years later. My mother donated. At that point, nothing much was known about atypical aHUS and the effects of, the possible outcomes after a transplant. So we went for a transplant, but 11 days after the transplant, aHUS recurred again in the new kidney. And then I was back on dialysis. So I've been on dialysis for the last 18 years, and I'm waiting for the day when eculizumab or another complement inhibitor becomes available in India. So currently, this drug is not available in India at all. And even funding for healthcare in India is very difficult because about 80 to 90% of patients pay their entire healthcare expenses out of pocket. So even if the drug comes to India, the cost is going to be prohibitively expensive for Indian patients. So I'm just waiting for the day when a complement inhibitor becomes available. In the meantime, to spread awareness and improve public visibility, I've started the Atypical aHUS India Foundation, and Linda Burke from the Atypical aHUS Foundation of the US has been extremely helpful. And many thanks to Linda Burke. She's been the beacon of light for a lot of people across the globe like us. So I started this foundation. We barely have about 5 to 6 patients registered. We just started it about a few months back. And we hope to work very closely with the aHUS Alliance that Len Woodward was talking about. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kamal. Next is Joyce from what I call Holland. We've probably got Netherlands.
Hello, my name is Joyce Kransveld. I'm from the Netherlands. I was diagnosed atypical aHUS 5 years ago with kidney failure as a result. I've been on dialysis for 2.5 years, and then I got transplanted with eculizumab. And ever since I function very well. In the Netherlands, we have a patient organization called the NVN. It's an alliance for patients and their families with kidney diseases, so not specifically atypical aHUS, but all kidney diseases. And as a part of that, we have a knowledge group specifically for our disease, and also for other diseases there are specific groups. And each 2 years, we have a day like this for the Dutch patients, and there we talk about the newest, information that is available about our diseases. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Joyce. Next is Irina.
Good afternoon. I am Irina. I'm from Russia, and I'm actually representing Anastasia Tatarnikova, who was unable to come, unfortunately, and she is the chair of the board of the patients' organization in Russia that is called Another Life, and its members are patients with conditions related to uncontrolled activation of complement, that is PNH and aHUS. The organization was founded in June 2012, so it's 3 years now. It has 267 members, 68, of whom 67 people are aHUS patients. And the official diagnosis of aHUS was confirmed for 105 people in Russia, and 51 of them are being treated with eculizumab, receiving the treatment. This treatment is free for them. That is, there is federal law that regulates the treatment of patients with rare diseases. They can get the medicines that they need. But the thing is, the funds are allocated from regional budgets, and after all, it is a matter of each individual patient, like whether they will get the medicine or not, because the regional authorities, the regional budget decides to whom to allocate the money to, because there are other people with other diseases. And one of the things that Another Life does is raising awareness among people and among those government authorities, raising awareness of aHUS, and they're quite successful, so they work with mass media a lot, and now Russia has seen rapid development of aHUS diagnostics over the last 6 months, and the number of people receiving eculizumab treatment grew by 40% over the last year, so that's it.
Okay, thanks, Irina. Finally, we have Linda, who'll introduce herself. You probably have heard about it.
Thanks, Len. And thanks very much to everyone who made today's conference possible, from the speakers and the coordinators of the conference, particularly aHUS UK and all of its members and supporters. So thank you. My name is Linda Burke. I am coming to you from America and representing the Atypical aHUS Foundation. In America, people have access to Solaris, so our situation is more making sure that the patient caregiver's point of view is understood by all stakeholders, whether it's pharma, whether it's policymakers, or whether it's governmental and healthcare people. For our interests with www.atypicalahus.org, that is actually a social networking platform that my brother, Steve Green of Alpha Marketing, sponsored, founded, created, and continues to maintain. It is a family organization because, let's face it, atypical aHUS is a very rare disorder. So it's going to take all of us working together as a unit, which is why it's so grateful that Atypical aHUS and the Woodward family has been so instrumental, along with the leadership of other nations, to combine into a global alliance so that information does not have any borders, so that information goes out there regardless of whether there's new research in French, whether it's presented in Russian, Italian, or whatever the language. Our goal is to make that information accessible to you. In my family's case, in 2003, when my 10-month-old son, Hunter, presented with atypical aHUS, there was one website. It was run by the Foundation for Children with Atypical aHUS, founded by the Bierman family. Bill had posted research papers with atypical aHUS located in one place for my family to use. Unfortunately, back in 2003, there was no Solaris, no access to information, basically, other than that single website online. So Hunter died of an unsuccessful kidney liver transplant in 2008. 10 months later, our other son, Skylar, was diagnosed with atypical aHUS. In one case, that 10-month interval made all the difference, because by that time we were connected in with the University of Iowa, and I received more information. There was one article available with a case of an atypical aHUS patient, young child, who was using eculizumab, but that was in a hematology journal, and we saw pediatric nephrologists. Because of that lack of information, that can make all the world of difference. Everyone you see upstage, and many of you in the audience, are dedicated to becoming advocates for atypical aHUS, to increase that information, to give us all chances at a brighter future for our patients, but also for our families, because this disease affects us all, not just the patient, but also their loved ones. So I urge you to be an advocate with aHUS UK and connect globally with the Rare Connect platform, sponsored by Yortis and Nord, and on our social networking platforms. Thank you.